Hi everyone, my name is Bence and today I'm answering fitness related current questions under the topics of diet, PEDs, TRT and hormone optimization. The first question is from Sebastian. What dose of testosterone is still TRT? This is kind of a hard question. To be honest, there is not a clear line between TRT and between doing a steroid cycle. What I would say, it's all dependent on the blood work. So in my opinion, if you need to take aromatase inhibitors to keep the estradiol in range, then you are not really in the TRT territory. In my opinion, it's not really about the testosterone level because the testosterone level naturally fluctuates a lot between certain people. However, we don't really see guys walking around with higher than 1000 nanograms per deciliter total testosterone combined with the 30 or 40 nanomoles per liter SHBG. If the SHBG is higher than that, then it can happen that the total T naturally is higher than that, but usually the estradiol is also in range for these guys. So I would say overall, if your SHBG is lower than 30 and you are over 1000 nanograms per deciliter total testosterone, you are still lean and you still need to take an aromatase inhibitor because without it the estradiol would be so high that you would get gynecomastia, then you are clearly not in TRT territory. You are way higher than what a normal man should be on the testosterone scale. A lot of guys on Instagram started to argue with me and saying that they feel really good on 2000 or 3000 or 4000 nanograms per deciliter total testosterone and that's all what matters and it's still TRT. And to be honest, it's not really true. Like TRT stands for testosterone replacement therapy. If you are taking more testosterone than what any healthy guy would produce naturally, then you are not replacing anything. You are basically optimizing hormones or putting your hormone levels above the natural limit, which is fine, I guess. Like you can do whatever you want, but it's not TRT. The next question is from Ryan. My doctor told me that my testosterone is fine. It's at 430 nanograms per deciliter, but I feel all the low testosterone symptoms. How can this happen? Doctors are not really looking testosterone as what it would be at an optimal level. So they look at testosterone based on the reference range, and basically if you are in the reference range, then they say you are fine. They usually don't look at the SHBG, they usually don't look at the estradiol, they usually don't look at many other things that are correlating with natural and healthy hormone production. So I guess it depends what we define as fine, but if you are clearly feeling all the low testosterone symptoms, then you are clearly not fine, so you need to do something about it. Maybe you can optimize your levels naturally, maybe TRT would be suitable for you. It all depends on what you want to do and where you want to be in terms of your physique, energy levels, sex drive, and all of those things. Next question. I'm a vegan since 10 years for spiritual reasons. Any advice? I got this question on a group call that I host in a private community, by the way. And overall, my advice would be to not be vegan. The research has clearly shown that it's not an ideal diet for humans. It's lacking in a lot of essential nutrients, for example, choline, which is a very important nutrient for brain health and overall cognitive function. And since you are also not having any saturated fats in your diet, your cholesterol levels will be really low. Your doctor can be really happy about it because that seems to be all they care about. However, you will not feel your best. Cholesterol is basically the backbone of every sex hormone. So we are synthesizing every kind of sex hormones from cholesterol, even vitamin D, by the way. So usually vegan guys have low testosterone levels, low estradiol production, low vitamin D levels, and they are overall not functioning very well. So if you would want to do a vegan diet optimally, then you would need a lot of supplements and you would need to organize them in the right way to make it work. But overall, what I would say is just eat animal products because it's way easier to manage and it's way healthier for you on the long term. Next question is from Daniel. My total testosterone is at 600 nanograms per deciliter. My SHBG is at 110 nanomoles per liter. I feel low sex drive, low energy, losing muscle. What should I do? So this is basically a very unfavorable hormonal position to be in. It can be happening for many reasons. For many people, this can seem to be okay because the total testosterone is still decent. It's at 600 nanograms per deciliter. But if we look at the SHBG, then we can realize that there is a clear problem here. So if your SHBG is at this high of a level, you will experience all the low testosterone symptoms, even if your total T would be at 1000. So I think many people are misunderstanding SHBG, by the way. Usually it's explained as it's a binding protein and it's basically just soaking up testosterone and it's making it unavailable for the body to use it. This is not really true. Testosterone that is bound to SHBG can become still free testosterone later. So how it works is basically, this is a testosterone storage. So we are producing testosterone throughout the nighttime mostly, and the SHBG bound testosterone is making sure that the testosterone level is sustained throughout the day when you are not really producing testosterone, and this SHBG bound testosterone is slowly becoming free testosterone. But there is a limit here. So usually, according to my experience with clients and with my body, it seems like that the ideal SHBG level is between like 20 to 40 nanomoles per liter. Usually guys are even having low testosterone symptoms at 50 or 60 nanomoles per liter, but this 110 is crazy high. So there are a couple of things that you can do naturally, and if those are not solving it, then I think you really need TRT. Usually naturally SHBG is getting elevated when there are thyroid problems present, so if your thyroid is underperforming, then your SHBG will be higher. If your estrogen is too high, then SHBG will be also high. SHBG is also inversely correlated with insulin. So if you are having low insulin levels throughout the day all the time, then your SHBG will come up. This can happen in a carnivore diet, in a keto diet, and in a general low carb and low insulin state. So this is, by the way, common with guys who are not eating enough and who are not eating enough carbohydrates, that their SHBG is quite elevated. So I think that you need to do further blood work after the implemented changes. So if you are not eating enough, or if you are on a keto diet or carnivore diet, then introduce some carbs into the diet, run it for a few weeks, see how you feel, and do a blood work and see where it is. But overall, I would say that 110 is still very high, so you will probably not be able to get this down to a favorable position. If you are really trying your best and it's not coming down, even with all of your efforts, then I think TRT can be the solution. Oh, and one other thing, like people say that boron is really helpful here. Boron will not help here. Like this is the kind of level that boron will not take down. And overall, according to my experience with clients, boron didn't really do anything on blood work. So we used it, we tried it with a couple of natural guys, and basically on blood work, we didn't see any significant improvements. So in my opinion, it's worthless. Although it seems like in studies that it's working, but in my experience in the real world, it really doesn't. The next question is from Ian. I can't put on muscle mass, I'm training calisthenics twice a week, 45 minutes each, and following the Bryan Johnson method. What should I do? I'm not really familiar with what Bryan Johnson is doing. I know that he is trying to live forever, and I know that he's on TRT and he's doing certain things with his body, but I don't really know deeply what he does. But what I would tell you, based on the workout routine that you are describing, like this is really not enough. If you want to grow real muscle mass on your whole body and you want to have a balanced body with good proportions, not just, for example, a big upper body and zero legs, then this is not how you need to work out. Like think about it, how many muscle groups you have on your body that you could train separately. So you have biceps, triceps, shoulders, back, chest, and legs. Like we could break it down even further, but let's say you have 6 main muscle groups and you are training twice a week, 45 minutes each. So what it is, like you are dedicating 15 minutes of working out weekly to each muscle group. Like if you think about it, that's really not enough effort to put on serious amounts of muscle. I think you need to go to the gym, you need to dedicate a bit more time to it, and you need to go to the gym minimum 3 times a week. This is the bare minimum, in my opinion, that you should dedicate towards working out if you want to get not even serious results, but even if you just want to get a beach body that is a bit better than average, then this is the minimum input that you need to get those results. The next question is from my client Scott. I'm using 140 milligrams of testosterone cypionate every 3 days, 80 milligrams of primo and 60 milligrams of masterone every 3 days. My numbers are total testosterone 1500, SHBG 23, Estradiol 53. How do they look? To me, this is a bit of strange reading. In my opinion, what you are using is underdosed or even fake. On this amount of testosterone, if we calculate out the weekly amount, you are using more than 300 milligrams of testosterone. You are using primo and masterone on top of it. In my opinion, your total testosterone should be at least around 2500 or 3000. And I seen your previous blood work where you was using a bit of nmol and primo also, and there the SHBG was, I think, at 9 or 10 nanomoles per liter, and right now it's 23. In my opinion, what you are using is only testosterone, and that's also severely underdosed. I think it's having like half of the dosage what's on the label. By the way, if this would be my blood work, it would look very similar if I would use something like 200 milligrams of testosterone, and that would be only it. My SHBG usually at only testosterone is around 20. Meanwhile, if I use just a little bit of primo or just a little bit of any artificial anabolic steroid, then it's around 10 already. And it was the same for you, so I think what you are using right now is only testosterone, and the testosterone you are using is also underdosed. Or maybe the test result is... The next question. I'm having elevated CRP and blood work most of the time. It's around 4 to 6. What can be the reason? I think there can be many reasons for this to happen. It can be some kind of food intolerance. It can be due to being sick. It can be due to undersleeping. It can be due to drinking alcohol. It can be inflammatory carrier oils that are put inside of your steroids. So if you are using anabolic steroids, you should always make sure that you are using brands that are making their steroid oils in an organic carrier oil, like a vegetable oil. Also, maybe you have an injury present, you have sore elbows, sore knees, you hurted yourself in the gym. So this can be happening because of many reasons. But what I would say, if this is not an outlier and you don't really know the reason for it, don't have any sore joints, you are not sick, you are not using any synthetic carrier oils with your steroids, this needs to be further investigated, because it's really not healthy to be sitting with chronic inflammation over a long period of time. The next question. I'm using a keto diet to get lean. Thoughts? So in my opinion, the keto diet is not the most optimal for athletes who are trying to build muscle. I think it can be used periodically for guys who are very insulin resistant or their hemoglobin A1C is at a very high level. But if you are someone who want to get lean and want to preserve muscle and you want to preserve performance and you want to have muscles with a full look, then the keto diet will not work for you. Your muscles are having basically a carbohydrate storage, and they are able to store a very significant amount of carbs. If you are doing a keto diet, those carbohydrate storages will be basically depleted almost to nothing. If that happens, then your workout performance will simply not be there. And I don't care what anyone says, this is really the truth. I heard that long distance runners like the keto diet, maybe it's working for them, but I can absolutely tell you without any uncertainty that the keto diet is not the best way if you want to be in shape. I tried the keto diet, by the way. I lost a significant amount of weight, I lost performance, and I just got weaker and weaker. And this is basically the same experience as anyone who I ever talked to in the gym and use keto diet. So in my opinion, you should use carbohydrates strategically in your diet, even if you are trying to cut down to a very lean body fat percentage. At least some amount around the workouts are needed. The next question is from Doug. I'm on 150 milligrams of testosterone at the moment and want to go from 250 pounds, 28% body fat, to 230 pounds, 15% body fat. Will I be able to do it on this amount, or do I need gear? So basically, if we do the math, then you will need to lose way more body fat than this 30 pounds. And then you also need to replace that lost amount of body fat with muscle mass. So basically you need to do a recomposition if you want to get to this point, and you need to get rid of a significant amount of body fat and you need to put on a significant amount of muscle mass. In my opinion, you will not really be able to do this at just 150 milligrams of TRT. Realistically, at least if you are not a complete beginner who was never working out before. So I would use a little bit of anabolic support, maybe with some growth hormone, maybe with certain peptides, to get there in a realistic time frame. If you want to do this transformation in 6 months to a year, and not in 4 or 5 years, then I don't think that the 150 testosterone weekly will be enough for this, at least for most people. The next question is also from Doug. So, do you think I need to do ab etching if I was 300 pounds, 250 at the moment, and want to go to 225, 230 lean with a six-pack? Mostly worried about saggy skin. So this is, by the way, a quite common question or concern that I have with many of my clients. They are worried about having saggy skin after big weight loss journey. To be honest, I can't really tell you if you will need to do skin removal surgery or not for sure, but according to my experiences, that the results that my clients experience are way better than what they were imagining it before. So usually the skin is tightening up, especially if you are losing body fat in a slow way and then you are also replacing that with muscle. Also, growth hormone seems to be very beneficial and very effective when it comes to tightening up the skin. So overall, what I see with my clients is that they are able to get rid of a significant amount of saggy skin without doing any kind of surgery. Thank you guys for coming. Make sure to submit your questions in the comment section, hit the follow button and join my free school community.